We are live.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Hero Fincorp supported career guidance program. As part of this program, we are doing this career awareness workshop. So this is our second workshop today on the subject of commerce, different careers in commerce. Who is this workshop for? So this workshop is for all the 11th and 12th standard students who have taken commerce with or without maths in their 11th, 12th. This is also for those students who are in 9th and 10th who are planning to take commerce after their 10th standard. And this is also for all those students who are in other streams other than commerce, but are interested in making careers which are based on subjects which are taught on commerce. So somebody who's interested in, in the field of business and management and other such neutral careers about which we will be talking about also in this workshop. Those in this webinar. So all those students who are interested in these kind of careers are most welcome to be a part of this program today. So before I start, let me talk a bit about this program. This career guidance program has been supported by Hero Fincorp Group and Raman Kant Munjal Foundation. Under this career guidance program, we have been reaching out to schools all across the India. And with this program, we aim to, influence and impact 20,000 students across our country. I am Mansi Kejriwal, and I am the career counselor who is working with schools in the east region of the country. So I've been working with the schools in Kolkata and surrounding regions in West Bengal. What is the purpose of this program and what we have achieved? So as part of this program, we reached out to schools and asked for their registrations. Many schools, were really appreciated this initiative and registered their students for this program. So we registered 9th to 12th standard students. To these students, we started with a career planning orientation workshop. In this workshop, we talked about why career guidance is important and how they can do career planning for themselves on their own. To assist their career planning and career decisions, we have been training them through this workshop, and also we gave them two things. One is this personalized career guidance portal. This portal has information of over 550 careers. Along with career information, we are also giving them information about colleges and the courses that are offered in these colleges, entrance exams through which they can get into the colleges, and the scholarships and fellowships and the competitions that help them with the admission process. As part of this career guidance portal, we also give them a career assessment. This career assessment is actually a psychometric assessment about their interest, abilities, and personality. So we have around 90 minutes assessment, after completing which the student gets a whole detailed career report. Why do we call this career report? Because along with an idea about their abilities and all the three parameters that I told you, they get career recommendations also, which are mapped according to the assessment that has been done about their interest, abilities, and personality. Once the students have completed these exercises, once they have got the login information to this portal and they have completed the psychometric assessment, then is the second stage of this program, wherein we are doing these career awareness workshops, where we are talking about different careers in different streams: science stream, commerce stream, and the humanities streams. So we have already completed our workshop on science, careers in science, which was done on 22nd January. Some of you who have missed it and are interested in knowing about careers in science, you can go through the our account and find the link for it. Today we will be discussing about careers in commerce, and on 27th January we will be doing the final third career awareness workshop about careers in humanities. Now what are we going to do today? We are going to discuss about careers in commerce and some neutral careers also, which are irrespective of whatever stream that you take, but you can pursue a career in these fields. And we will also be understanding the psychometric assessment reports. So those of the students who have got their career reports but are not able to understand that, how to read it, how to, apply it to, in our case, for those students, we will be, trying to understand. I will be telling you how to read your reports and, how to apply it in your situation. Meanwhile, while we are starting this workshop, if any of you have any questions, जो मैं अभी आपको पीपीटी दिखाऊंगी, जो मैं करियर्स आपके साथ शेयर करूंगी, इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस अबाउट द पीपीटी, अबाउट द करियर्स जिनकी इंफॉर्मेशन मैं शेयर कर रही हूँ, यू कैन put them in the chat box. So we will gather all these questions, we will organize those questions and answer them towards the end, so that हम बहुत ज्यादा टाइम ना ले आपका, and we are able to give accurate information to you. Random इधर उधर की information देने की बजाय हम आपको बिल्कुल exact information देंगे जो आपको चाहिए. ठीक है? So whoever has any question about the PPT that we are going to start now, आप वो questions अपने chat box में डाल सकते हैं. Okay, so now let's move on with our workshop. Now, before we start our discussion on different careers that are in commerce, let's ponder on these some questions. Okay, why are careers in commerce important? Will banking, finance, and insurance make further headway in the decades to come? One word answer is yes. Banking sector is something on which our economy resides on. Okay. As we talk about in banking sector in my further slides, you will realize that banking sector is not just restricted to the private sector banks and public sector banks, जो कि जिनमें आप accounts बनाते हैं, अपने account खोलते हैं, saving bank account, current account, and जिससे आप loans लेते हैं. Banking industry is playing a huge role in our economy and our daily lives. So yes, banking is going to be there for a long time, and it is a very required field for us today. Remember that जिन्होंने मेरी पहली वर्कशॉप अटेंड करी थी about career planning, remember when we were talking about problems like no poverty? How does problem of poverty get solved? When you have money. Where does the money come from? When the banking sector keeps the money rolling. Finance division, yes, they are going to have a huge impact on our economy and how our personal finances or our country's finances, GDP works around. Insurance sector, so this is going to be the first career that I will be talking about, which has huge scope, and it's very difficult to go through. So insurance sector is huge, and there are careers in this sector which are in huge demand. Now coming to the next question, how fintechs like Paytm and PhonePe are revolutionizing the the finance space. So we all know how Paytm and PhonePe has changed our transactions, our transaction practices, and how they are changing our everyday lives, how they are impacting and affecting our everyday lives. And this is one of the key examples where technology is influencing the very prime examples where technology is impacting the finance industry, which again was one of the topics that we discussed in our last career planning workshop. Key, technology is something we should be ready to adopt, and technology is something that we should always be taking into consideration when planning our careers. Paytm, PhonePe are just two examples, but there are numerous other examples that are out there for you. If Amazon Pay is coming, if Google is coming into this industry, if Razor Pay is working round the clock for you, there is huge scope in this industry. So now we understand where we talking about commerce. So now let's discuss what are the different careers in commerce subject and in this sector of commerce and finance and business, which play integral role in developments such as these. So first we're going to talk about some careers in commerce which require maths as a subject. So there is actuary. So this is the career field that I was talking about. Actuary is a major field in the insurance sector. Chartered accountants are the most popular ones that you might be knowing about, but there is cost management accountants also. Okay, earlier this was provided by ICWAI, but now the authority's name has been changed. We know about company secretary, But do you understand, what is the role a company secretary plays in a company and how it can be expanded? One of the restrictions with the roles of company secretary has been that it has been considered as very limited role with limited opportunities. But there are the whole company secretary program has been evolving. If you will see the whole, the growth, the changes in the that has gone under this program, and also the scope building that is possible with company secretary. There are chartered financial analysts. So this is also a program, a globally recognized program. Then you have careers in investment banking and how you can, get into it and what kind of opportunities does that offer. We will be discussing about that. We will be also talking about the BFI sector. So what is BFI sector? It comprises of the banking institutions, the financial services providers, which includes your, those fintechs like PhonePe and Paytm, the Razorpay, which we were talking earlier. Then the insurance sector and the taxation sector, which also requires, knowledge and, experience of commerce and accounts. Then you have your business management, whole big field, and then economists. Economics is definitely a subject that you study in commerce, but otherwise also they play a huge, they require, so because of the statistical modeling, etc., that is involved. It is preferable that, the students considering economics as a career should have, commerce with a maths background. So the first career that we will be talking about is actuary. Who are actuaries? Actuaries are the people who decide how much should be the premium value of the insurance that you are taking. They decide why premium value of this insurance policy is less and why insurance policy of that is large. They decide with their modeling and other techniques that, what is the outcome expected, what is the expected, they design these products. So insurance has different kind of products for different kind of public. So these are the people who design the product based on the analysis, risk analysis that they do about, based on the financial theories and also based on the, different statistical models. How do you get into actuary? So you have to, after your 12th, you have to appear for this actuarial CET, actuarial common entrance test exam. So once you have cleared the ACET, you get student membership, and then you have to clear 7 principal exams first, then 3 practical exams to become an associate member of IAI. What is IAI? IAI is Institute of Actuaries in India. So overall, you have to clear 13 subjects in 4 stages to become a fellow actuary. How big is it and how, in demand it is? So till date, we have 458 registered actuaries in India only, out of which 19 were registered in 2020 only. So it takes approximately 5 years. If you clear all the stages, all the exams in one go, it takes approximately 5 years to become an actuary, and it is a career in insurance sector which is in huge demand. How huge it is and how many opportunities are there? So you have opportunities in insurance company. You have, opportunities in firms of consulting actuaries or authorities like IRDA, the ones who work in this particular sector. There are asset liability management companies who require, registered actuaries, trained registered actuaries, and not just trained actuaries. Actually, it's such a huge career that even if you clear, first few stages, you are able to get a good job after clearing first few levels only. Then you also get jobs in large banks and investment firms as huge as World Bank, pension banks, actuarial software development and BPO companies. So the companies who are, servicing through their, software technologies and, through their BPO services, they also need somebody who has an understanding of actuaries. And then there is this whole sector of insurance management. The next career that we'll be talking about is chartered accountant. Now, before I talk about chartered accountant, if anybody has any questions about careers in actuary, please, write your questions in the chat box and we'll be taking up those towards the end. Now, chartered accountant, most of us will be knowing about chartered accountants. How do we do chartered accountant? We, so now CAs are considered as a graduation program through which you can apply to other courses in India and abroad also. So now graduation is not compulsory. Earlier, people used to do BCom CA. Now it is not compulsory. You can go ahead with a CA program after your 12th by clearing the CA foundation course and then doing an intermediate course. And then you have to do an articleship of around 3 years. Articleship is still compulsory. Then you give your CA final exam. So articleship can be done after completing group 1 of CA intermediate. If you're not able to complete both the groups of CA in intermediate level, you can still join articleship. And post completing your 3 years of articleship, you give your in between you can give your CA final years, and then you can become a registered or a recognized CA chartered accountant. So it almost takes 4 to 4.5 years the whole CA program. And you get opportunity with companies, auditing firms, finance companies, investment houses, legal firms also, and you get to have your own practice also if you want. Next is cost management accountancy or cost management accountant. This is a program which is provided by ICMAI, which is Institute of Cost and Management Accountants of India. In this also there are 3 levels. You first go through the ICMAI foundation course, then the ICMAI executive level. Then you have to undergo a 15 months training, after which you give ICMAI the finals you give for this course, and you are a registered CMA, cost management accountant. Again, the prospects are own practice. You can also get into auditing and taxation. Plus, you can work in any company for their cost record management. Next is company secretary that I was talking about. So company secretary are people who actually work in the areas of governance and government where the company is following the government regulations and following the all or governance rules that are there. So they are kind of an in-house legal expert for the company. They work very closely with the management teams in terms of whether the corporate laws are being followed or whether the market and corporate governance rules and the regulations are being followed or not. Now, what is the way to become a CS? So there are 3 different ways through which you can become a CS. You can give a CS foundation course after 12th, or you can also join directly their executive program by giving a CS executive entrance. Or you complete a UG program and then you enroll into a CS executive program. Okay, so the starting point would be the executive program, which can be reached through either of these 3 ways, either a CS foundation course, UG program, or the executive entrance exam. And once you complete your executive program in CS, then you have a 21 months of practical training that you have to complete before giving the exam for CS professional program. After which you can become an associate company secretary or a fellow company secretary, depending on the requirements that you are able to meet. And you become an official member of ICSI, which is the Institute of Company Secretaries in India. Where do company secretaries can find themselves jobs? They can find themselves jobs in all the companies with means they can find any company, but with company which have a paid up share capital of 5 crores, it is mandatory for them to employ a company secretary. You can also have your own practice. You can become a corporate advisory service also. You can get into financial management, and capital market and investor relation is also very important role as part of company secretary. So this is a field where you can also develop your work. Company secretaries, and it is very popular these days that company secretaries also go and do LLB courses to increase their skill value and value as an asset to the company. Next are the chartered financial analyst. So chartered financial analyst is also a very specialized course. It is a professional credential offered by the CFA Institute. Okay. These people can work in the banking sector, corporate finance, jobs in equity investment, portfolio management, or even wealth planning. How do you complete chartered become a CFA. So there are three can give them in a gap of 1 year, or plus you have to complete, or 36 months of relevant experience. You have to complete it. The flexibility that is offered in the CFA program is that this 4,000 hours or 36 months can be completed before CFA program, in middle of CFA program, or even after CFA program. राइट सो व्हाट हैपेंस इन सीए इज कि आपको सीए इंटरमीडिएट लेवल ग्रुप 1 क्लियर करना है, उसके बाद ही आप आर्टिकलशिप स्टार्ट कर सकते हो, एंड सीए फाइनल भी तभी होगा जब आपका आर्टिकलशिप कंप्लीट हो जाएगा. राइट, विद सीएफए व्हाट हैपेंस इज कि आप एग्जाम सारे क्लियर कर सकते हो, आपका प्रायर एक्सपीरियंस भी काउंट होगा, बट इट शुड बी रेलेवेंट एक्सपीरियंस. जो उनका डिमांड है कि इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड फाइनेंस प्रोफाइल होनी चाहिए, तो उस पर्टिकुलर इंडस्ट्री और उस पर्टिकुलर जॉब रोल में आपका एक्सपीरियंस होना चाहिए. देन योर प्रायर एक्सपीरियंस इज आल्सो काउंटेड. दे आल्सो टेक सम रेफरेंस लेटर्स आल्सो. तो आपको ये पूरा एक्सपीरियंस जब आपका कंप्लीट हो जाएगा, then you will get your CFA charter holder, then you will get this credential of a CFA. All right, so आप एग्जाम कभी भी क्लियर कर सकते हैं, बट टू गेट दैट क्रेडेंशियल यू विल हैव टू कंप्लीट दिस 36 months or 3 years of work ex in the relevant industry. So these people who use investment tools, these people apply their knowledge for portfolio management and also for wealth planning. There are some other popular certifications, that are there, but we are not going to talk about them in detail because these mostly come at, after graduation level. Okay, these certifications in financial planning, which are globally recognized, or in, investment performance or international investments, these are mostly अगर आप जब UG complete कर लेते हैं, you are working in a specific sector, most probably a relevant work, experience sector, तब आप इन programs को अपनी profile building के लिए use कर सकते हैं, grow करने के लिए. The term that is very popular these days, upskill and upgrade. उसके लिए you can consider these certifications depending on the area in which you are more interested. If you're interested in financial planning, then you can look at the financial planning courses. If you are interested in investment markets, then there are other courses. There's one more program that I would like to talk about. It is by a organization by the name of CRISIL. I'm sorry. CRISIL is a rating agency primarily. तो जो भी प्रोडक्ट्स रेटिंग होती है, फाइनेंशियल प्रोडक्ट्स की रेटिंग या फिर कंपनी रेटिंग्स होती हैं फॉर लोन डिसबर्समेंट एंड एवरीथिंग, तो वो क्रिसिल करती है. बट क्रिसिल आल्सो वर्क्स इन रिस्क एंड पॉलिसी एडवाइजरी एंड आल्सो ऑफर्स इट्स सर्विसेज टू अ लॉट ऑफ बैंकिंग एंड फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस आल्सो. Now they offer a certified analyst program for graduates and the final year students. Okay, so the eligibility criteria is mentioned here. They also consider scores of CAT, XAT, and CRISIL aptitude test. They have their own CRISIL aptitude test. And what is good about this course is that once you have completed their course, you have met the criteria that have been defined by them, they hire you immediately after completing their program as management trainees, and you will be having a minimum starting salary of 6 lakhs in that case. All right. Just a moment. There has been a load shedding in my area. Okay. Hope I am visible to all of you. Are there any problems? Thomas, will you be able to confirm if because of this power loss there has been any problem at your end?
The net was a little... there was some issues with the net, but it's fine now.
Okay. So you are able to hear me properly and see me properly, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Thank you for the confirmation. And sorry for the inconvenience to all our viewers who have been watching this program, this live session. Okay, the light is back. Thank God. Okay. So now we were talking about this CRISIL certified program. These are some certification programs that I discussed in this slide. And this one, which can be considered for profile building later on to upskill yourself, also as an alternative to the other programs that you have been considering to do after completing your commerce studies. Next we move to a very interesting field, which a lot of you might be interested in, that is investment banking. So let us first understand what exactly is investment management. Investment management or investment banking is a specialized field where you are working with assets, securities, all those financial products that are there in the stock market and in the trading, NSE trading, assets, securities, funds, mutual funds, stocks, and real estate also. And what you do here is you manage funds that you have, and you plan investments as to where how much should be invested. So all that is part of where you are working with these products. You are studying these products, which is better, which is bad, where your money should be invested, which should be avoided, what is the growth. Also studying the doing modeling around to study what is the growth expected in each of these funds. Okay, not just an understanding will help. You will have to do certain calculations and modeling at your end also to design these products or to plan investment in these products. So who are the ones who can make careers in investment banking? So the accounting professionals, CAs, yes, they can go. CFA particularly is a course designed for these kind of roles. If you get specializations, you can definitely be enter into any of these sectors. People who have completed their MBA with specialization in finance can also consider a career in the field of investment banking. Now, different other small little roles that are associated with the investment banking. One is portfolio management services, where you manage the funds of a particular portfolio only. It could be a company, it could be a portfolio made of certain things coming together. You may manage the entire portfolio. So in this case, your individual investments are also counted, and also how your net portfolio is coming up, how it is developing, that is also counted. All right. So in this case, you should also be aware of the fiscal and monetary policies that are there with the government. What was there in the past and what might happen in the future. So you should be aware of what is happening in the financial world in terms of the markets also, and in terms of the government policies also. All right. And you need to constantly review the investments that you have done and how your portfolio is developing. Stockbroking is a little one step lower, I would say, because it is in this we are not looking at a complete portfolio. We are only looking at individual stocks. The कौन से stock का price बढ़ा, कौन से में घटा, intraday sharing, intraday sharing, जो हर stock पे जो आप earning करते हो, the profits you earn and the markups you make, वो stock broking के अंदर आता है. This you can also, so in this you mostly work with stocks, bonds, and derivatives, and you advise your clients about market fluctuations. So you are more focused on the market fluctuations and the factors which might affect them. So if you pursue a career in investment banking, what kind of job opportunities you have? You have job opportunities in banks. You have job opportunities in specialized, investment banking firms like Goldman Sachs. So Goldman Sachs is the, most popular example that most of you would be knowing. So it is an investment banking firm. You also get opportunities with the big four consulting firms. Big four or the other consulting firms that are there who work in this sector. They also have a specialized division for investment banking. So the PwCs, the KPMGs, all these also have their investment banking divisions. So these are the most popular routes, but there is something new that has come across that I would, like all of you students to be aware about. That is these two bachelor courses that have recently come, BFM, Bachelor in Financial Markets, and BFIA, Bachelor in Financial Investment and Analysis. So these are very new courses, still developing courses. Very few colleges have introduced them, but you can keep a lookout there, because since you are students, in 9th, 10th, we don't know how these courses will be developing over the years. So you can keep a lookout for these programs also if you are very, very interested in the field, in the field of capital market, financial market, and investment. So you can immediately enter into these courses through these graduation programs. Any questions until now? If there are any questions, you can put them in the chat box. And there was this career portal that I was talking about. Let me take a moment here to show you the career portal and the kind of information we are providing there. So I'll be taking, a 2 minutes break from all the, information that I've been sharing with you. I understand that it can be quite overwhelming knowing about all the courses and the different processes that are there, admission processes that are there associated with each of them. Okay. So to help you in, revising this information or coming back to this information in case missed out on anything, one advantage you have is that we are having a YouTube session today. So you can always come back and look at this video. Another thing, and especially the benefit that the students who have registered with us and who have attended my first workshop and got the login access for this career portal is that they will be having all this information on this portal. So this information, this portal has career information, college information, exam information, and scholarships, competitions, and fellowship information. What all college career information do we have here? Let me show it to you. The students, while this page is uploading, so those students who haven't yet entered this portal, who haven't got access to this portal or don't know how to access this portal, you can reach out to your teacher coordinators who did workshop with the schools with whom we did our workshops. Those schools have their teacher coordinators have the login information, the login IDs for all the students who are registered for this program. Their individual career portal, their own career portal has been designed for them, and your passwords have also been given. So you can take your login IDs and password and come on this website. So the website name is mysarthi.org. mysarthi.org. You can come on this website, and on this website you will log in. So I'm already logged in. So you will log in through your own login ID and your password, and then you will come to a page like this. So I had opened up this page for you, but you will come to this page. You will get career information, and you will also find an option to do your assessment. Okay, I'll coming when we will be little closer, we will come to the psychometric session. That I will, those of you who have not completed the psychometric assessment, I'll also show you how to do your psychometric assessment. But right now, let's talk about careers. So when I click on careers, see, you can. Those of you who think that there was too much information, they could not write down everything. They don't need to write down. They don't even need to see my whole session again and again. They can just log into this portal and they will find information about chartered accountants here, CMA, company secretary is here. You have financial planners here. You have investment bankers here. And we also have stockbrokers here and risk managers, about which we are not talking much today. But risk management profiles are also mentioned here. All right. And there is this field of business management also. Here we have actuary. Those who want to know more about actuary, they can come here and read about actuaries here. And there are these different roles are there in business and management. But let's come to business and management before we start talking about these careers. So moving back to my presentation, we were on investment and banking. And from here, we will be moving to banking sector. So banking sector, like I was telling you in the beginning, is huge. You have your private and public sector banks that all of us know about. ICICI is a private bank. HDFC is a private bank. SBI and PNB, banks like these are public sector banks or central banks which are operated. These are nationalized banks which are operated by government, and they are followed by regular, nationalized policies only. There are cooperative and other types of banks also, but we are not going into those details today. Now, another, segment of banks that I wanted you to know about are the payment banks. Who are these payment banks? These Google Pay and the Phone Pay, who are making these, transactions possible on your mobile phone. So these are payment banks. Then there are microfinancing banks. These banks are banks like Bandhan banks who work with the marginalized segments and provide, small loans to those underprivileged classes to, start their businesses or to run their farming. To the farmers, they give loans. who work with the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises. So there are banks especially who are working in these segments also. And then there are also non-banking financial companies. We might not have, heard much of them in this term NBFC, but you might be knowing about them. So there is particularly people who have been live in West Bengal, Calcutta. There was a company, Magma Fincorp, which has now been taken over by Poonawallas. It was an NBFC. Companies like Bajaj Finserv and the Chola Mandalam and the Muthoot Fincorp. These are not banks. These are NBFCs who work in this sector, providing loans for different products, against different products. So personal loans or vehicle loans. Vehicle loan is a huge segment. So vehicle loans, they work. Gold loans, Muthoot is famous for that. So these are those companies, NBFC. So all these come under the banking sector because they are giving out that keeping the transaction of money, they're taking records of transaction of money and the loans giving and all those things. So what are the different job types in banks? So there are a lot of jobs in banks. Okay, in fact you can consider them an organization in itself. So like in a company you have an operations team, an IT team, a marketing team, a finance team. A banking will also have all those roles. Besides that, the most popular roles that are there, the common roles are the clerical positions, the probationary officers, bank managers, relationship managers, credit analysts, tellers who give out money, the loan processors. So these kind of specialized jobs are associated with banks besides the other job roles that I was talking about. In public sector, a lot of exams happen through which you can find these jobs immediately after you have completed your 12th or even after completing your graduation. So these are so there are exams by banking service recruitment boards. So BSRB has branches around offices in Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore, Chandigarh, Lucknow, Guwahati, Baroda, and even Jaipur. Then you have SBI exams for PO and clerk, IBPS exams. IBPS is Institute of Banking Personnel Selection. They also have their own exams. RBI has their own exams for grade 2 officers and other such openings. NABARD. NABARD is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. They also conduct their own exams for similar bank openings for their offices. And another way to get into these banking programs are to come do your BCom or MBA programs in these fields, and you can also get into other roles in the banking sector. And of course, investment banking we have already discussed. That is also something that you can pursue and get into banks for in their specified departments for investment banking. Now let's come to management. Management is huge. It has many opportunities in terms of the specializations that you might choose, but that will come at the post-graduation level. Okay, when you want to enter into management or start with management, you will be having options of these three courses primarily: BBA, BBS, and BMS. BBA is Bachelor of Business Administration. It talks about administrative profiles and has subjects like accounting, business law, economics, financial management, HRM, MIS, management and information systems, statistics, strategic management. So BBA will cover basics of all these subjects, including your organizational behavior. So it will talk about all the aspects which are associated or which you need to be aware of if you have a business. BBS is quite very similar in terms of subjects to BBA. But in BBS, there is more, emphasis on the practical understanding or the application part of these concepts rather than the theory part. So what you will have is that you will find here some management specialization or accountancy specializations part of this program, or and even marketing and information system specializations as part of this program. BMS is part of that business where a large emphasis is put on analytical and logical operations in the business. Here, subjects might vary significantly from a BBA course or a BBS course. So here you will find subjects like management of services and global businesses, management of tourism, production management, export and import, and also managerial economics can be one of the subjects here. All right. And another one of the most common ways to get into these any programs, you can also get into these programs through a BCom or a eco honors courses also. So management is kind of a subject neutral field, but yes, if you want to have a if you know that you want to make a career out of it, and if you really want to get into the business part of it, the sales and marketing, the operations, the logistics, the supply chain, then it's better to have an understanding of the business studies, business economics, and accountancy from the beginning. That you can have from your 11th and 12th itself. CSR and sustainability are also one of the subjects. Ethics, business ethics are also subjects that are nowadays introduced in the management program and are very essential. In fact, now we have fixed CSR policies, that is, the companies have to invest a certain amount of their revenues and profits every year into the CSR projects. So CSR is very integral nowadays to understand your business and how your business can impact the world around you. Family business and foreign trade mostly come as specializations in your post graduation. In BBA, we will not be talking much about these subjects, but yes, if you are considering going into these sectors, then you should definitely look at the programs like BBA, BBS, and DMS. And the future of cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency, another technological field which is going to be huge in India, but right now we don't have much talks in terms of education for this sector. But this is definitely something that in management roles or in any financial services that you are looking forward to going, this can be something that you have to keep your eyes and ears open for. All right. So any questions until now, please type them in the chat box and we'll be taking up those questions towards the end. Okay. My friend and associate here is helping go through those, all the questions that we are getting, and we will be addressing them, answering them towards the end of the workshop. Now, family business, we know a little bit about foreign trade. Those people who are interested in knowing about foreign trade में क्या होता है, उसके लिए किस तरीके की पढ़ाई की जरूरत है या किस तरीके की knowledge की जरूरत है. So foreign trade is all about import and export. You can be an importer or you can be an only exporter. So primarily लोग या तो import करते हैं या सिर्फ exporter का काम करते हैं. There are very few people who do both the things. But what is required as an understanding of this field is आपको एक तो एक्सपोर्टर इंपोर्ट मैनेजमेंट कैसे होता है, लॉजिस्टिक मैनेजमेंट कैसा होता है, उसकी नॉलेज होनी चाहिए. एंड सिंस यू आर गोइंग टू वर्क अ लॉट विद द इंटरनेशनल मार्केट्स, इंटरनेशनल मार्केटिंग कैसे करनी होती है अपनी प्रोडक्ट की, अपनी सर्विसेज की, इंटरनेशनल बिजनेस एनवायरनमेंट को आपको समझना पड़ेगा, स्पेशली फॉर दोज कंट्रीज विद विच यू आर प्लानिंग टू डू ट्रेड. You should also know how to do international market research. आपको मार्केट के बारे में और समझने के लिए वहां पे रिसर्च कैसे करनी चाहिए, उसकी नॉलेज होनी चाहिए. फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट ऐसे इंस्टीट्यूट्स का कैसे होता है, बिकॉज यू विल बी वर्किंग इन मल्टीपल करेंसीज. ओके, आप पेमेंट किसी करेंसी में कर रहे हो, रुपीज में कर रहे हो, आपके पास डॉलर में रहा है, तो फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द इंटरनेशनल मार्केट्स यू आर इन्वॉल्व विद, वो इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. मैनेजरल इकोनॉमिक्स यहाँ पे बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है, टू अंडरस्टैंड द इकोनॉमिक एनवायरमेंट विच इम्पैक्ट योर वर्क, द इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज, द गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज. तो वो इकोनॉमिक्स का इंटरप्रिटेशन और एप्लीकेशन इन द फील्ड ऑफ मैनेजमेंट, वो अंडरस्टैंडिंग इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड ऑल्सो very small field, but this plays a very huge role, international procedures and documentation. आपको सब काम का सब चीज का documented procedures होने चाहिए. Everything should be verified and signed कि ये process follow होगा, इस तरीके से process होगा, यहाँ का ये rule है, वहाँ उस country का ऐसे rule है. So these procedures should be standardized according to those policies. So a knowledge of these all aspects is required when you are planning to make a career in the field of foreign trade. Now let's talk about if you are planning to do a BCom course or an economics honors. So to become an economist, you can do eco honors, and to start your career in the field of commerce, you can start with a simple BCom honors course. BCom honors course maybe you can in certain colleges you can look for certain specializations. कि कुछ BCom honors में you will in your third year find accountancy specializations. So depending on whatever your career plans are, after your graduation, accordingly you can choose your specializations. Now we have shared the topmost colleges across different parts of the country. इन colleges में या तो entrance exams के through admission होता है. So you have CUCET, which takes admission, which is an entrance exam for 7 to 12 central universities. इस साल से दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी भी CUCT शायद अडॉप्ट करने वाला है. There are talks about it. There has been some news about it, but no dates or anything have been announced yet. Earlier, it used to be DUET, Delhi University Entrance Test, but now, as part of the NET, DUET will be, lapsed, and now CUCT will happen there also. So a lot of these colleges will take admission through CUCET. कुछ specialized courses के लिए उनके अपने entrance exams भी हो सकते हैं institute wise, but mostly merit basis पे, and these entrance CUCET और these जिससे आपका इन सब कॉलेज में DU में, कैलकाटा यूनिवर्सिटी में, चेन्नई के कॉलेजेस में, मुंबई यूनिवर्सिटी, बेंगलुरु क्राइस्ट यूनिवर्सिटी, सेंट जोसेफ्स में एडमिशन हो जाएगा. Okay, so you'll find admission with these in these courses for BCom honors and Eco honors. Now we will move to some neutral careers, and especially those kind of neutral careers in which commerce plays a significant role, where having commerce in your school as a subject might help you, or even if you pursue BCom honors or Eco honors can help you. But before we start, let me spend a little time showing you one more thing on my dashboard. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about economics honors. कि इकोनॉमिक्स ऑनर्स के क्या फायदे होते हैं, इकोनॉमिक्स ऑनर्स से आपको कौन कौन से करियर्स में ओपनिंग मिल सकती है. सो आई वांट टू शो यू 2 careers here. One is financial planning, जिसके बारे में हम ज्यादा डिस्कस नहीं कर पाए थे. So if you are interested in the field of financial planning, so you will search in the explore careers, finance and banking, you will find financial planner as a job. उस रोल उसमें as a financial planner, what is the role about, what you all have to do in it, how could you enter in this career. So pathways have been described here. Also in this portal we share information about the amount of expense required for these courses, education requirement, future prospects that are there in this career, and you will also find colleges, job opportunities and competencies, because it's a certification program. Colleges might not have much relevant information, but job opportunities and competencies required for these field. So once आपकी psychometric report generate होती है, जब आपकी career report आती है, यहाँ से आप अपनी competencies match कर सकते हैं कि do my interest areas are matching with this profile, are my abilities matching with this profile. All right, and is my personality matching with this profile. So after completing a psychometric assessment, जो भी आप job करने का सोच रहे हैं, जो भी आप career follow करने का सोच रहे हैं, do come here and match your competencies with this field. All right. Another career that I wanted to talk about was economics.
Mansi, we can't see your screen.
Okay. All right. Okay, can you now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm really sorry. I didn't notice that I haven't connected. So sorry to those who have missed out financial planning, but let me show you economics. So an economist would require you to, you can start with a simple economics honors course, and then you can move on to specialize in macroeconomics, microeconomics, finance careers associated with economics also. So if you're sure about in which direction you want to take your career, you are not very sure at this stage, you can start with the BCom honors, or even if you like economics as a subject, you can start with economics honors. And then You can specialize in any of these fields. Okay, you can specify your specializations later on. So after completing your economics honors graduation at graduation level, be your bachelor's in economics, you can then either go into macroeconomics, microeconomics, or you become a financial economics. You can work in the financial markets also, or in institutions also as a financial economist. You can become a labor economist. You can also work in the health sector as a health economist. As an applied economist, you can also become a computational economist, where you will be using your knowledge for computing capabilities and solving complex problems. So it is a multidisciplinary field. We can talk about it separately. Then there is a use of economics in the business environment also, and you have developmental economics, econometrics, geoeconomics, and environmental economics. So there are different ways through which you can make your career in this field, through undergraduate and through your postgraduate studies. And again, we have your educational requirements for these courses. We have your colleges and university entrance exam and scholarship information, job opportunities that are there, the competencies required. All those informations have been shared here for each of the career options that I showed you on the first page. And one more interesting thing that we have here is that, to give encouragement to our students about different careers, we have gone one step ahead to show them the different economists, popular economists that we have in our country and what has been their journey in this field. So we have Raghuram Rajan, most of us will be knowing about him. We have also Geeta Gopinath, Jayati Ghosh. So she is a developmental economist, and Geeta Gopinath is an Indian American economist, and she is currently working in the IMF, the International Monetary Fund that is there. Now let's go back to our presentation. Let me share my screen again, and let's talk about the different careers that are there in after commerce, which are subject neutral, which doesn't require you to have commerce in your 11th and 12th. But again, if you have commerce, they can also contribute to you. From that perspective, we'll be discussing these careers. So first is sports, tourism, and event management. So this is one field where if you have, done commerce, if you're interested in the field of, management, business management, but you're also interested in the fields of sports or tourism or event management, then you can apply your, studies, the PBA studies, or your, BCom studies also, and then specialize in post-graduation level. You can specialize in MBA in sports management or MBA in event management or tourism management. So you can choose your PGDM or MBA programs depending on these specializations. For hotel management, you can start early, right? Okay. So for hotel management, you can start early. You can start with a bachelor's in hotel management immediately after your 12th, or you can also do a BBA in hotel management. We also have a BSc program, but it is not very, relevant for all the commerce students here. But yes, we have a BSc program also, just for your information. So for hotel management, you can start immediately after 12 by getting into a BBA or a BHM program. And then you can further specialize whether you want to be operating. So there are three different segments. So there is a front desk in hotel management, hospitality and hotel management industry. There is a culinary department and there is a housekeeping department. So you can choose and, finalize your careers and specialization for post-graduation after doing that, or you can directly go into the industry, have gained some experiences. There are also some, specific programs by the famous hotels also. So like Oberoi's have their own STEP program, and Taj also has their, some programs. So you can also, directly, enter into these programs also. So what kind of opportunities people have if they, get into hotel management? So you get into hotels and restaurant management. You can also get into airline catering and cabin services. You can get into club management or into a cruise ship hotel management. Then there is hospital administration and catering also. In fact, nowadays we are also having some hospital management courses also, which you can look at. So they also start at bachelor's level. Hotel and tourism associations you can get associated with. You can work with the forest lodges or guest houses, or you can start having your own uh, such guest houses or lodges. You can also work with institutional management, for like you can get into supervising, or make have your own canteens in colleges, in factories, or the company guest houses. You can also work with the catering departments of railways, banks, armed forces, shipping companies, all these companies which are having their catering departments. You can work in there also. And then you have your hotel and catering institutes, and self-employment is always an opportunity in this field. Now coming to mass communication. Mass communication is another neutral career in which you can, irrespective of whichever field subjects you have studied in 11th and 12th, whether be it science, be it commerce, or be it humanities. I'm really sorry. I'll just take a small sip of water. Thank you. Okay. So, mass communication is another field where you can get through any of these mediums, science, commerce, or humanities. But where, a commerce background or a finance background might help is journalism. Okay. So, if you are a person who has worked in the or have knowledge of this segment, you can get into financial researches. The equity researches, the people who do equity research, who write about these equity research or financial journalism, who so in print media or in television you have NDTV channels like NDTV Profit, which are completely about capital markets and financial markets. So they need people who come with this knowledge, who have an idea about these markets, who understand the finance world. Okay, so with these kind of knowledge in at your school level, at your graduation level, you can then specialize into and apply your knowledge into the fields of journalism, and in some cases advertising and public relations also, in which case you have clients and which are particularly from this sector, the finance sector. So the most popular colleges across the country in the field of mass communication are your St. Xavier's and Sophia College in Mumbai, Symbiosis and Ferguson in the Pune region. You have IP College and Lady Shri Rams in Delhi. You have Osmania College for Women in Hyderabad, and there are a lot of colleges, and even one of them is IMCFTS in Kolkata. In Kolkata and Calcutta University, a lot of colleges are offering their mass communication courses at undergraduate level, at bachelor's level, and also in master's level. Now, these mass communication courses might vary depending on the course you want to do. So there are some mass communication programs specifically for journalism. There are some for specifically film and television studies. So you can choose, make a choice depending on the area or the field you want to go and work in. Then you have law. Now, before I discuss about careers in law, let me tell you the field of law or a profession of lawyer is not just about fighting court cases. It also includes, job responsibilities. So after you have done a BA LLB or an integrated LLB LLM program, which is quite becoming popular these days, so you are not just going to be a lawyer who is fighting cases. You can be someone who can write those laws also. You who can make a contribution towards writing and preparing those laws. You can be doing what your role could be. You could be regulating industries. So all industries have to follow certain laws, and that is why the corporate laws are there, and that is why specific industry specific laws are also coming up. So we have medical law coming up for the healthcare and medical industry. We have energy laws for the people who are working in the energy sector. We have real estate laws, so for the companies who are building these huge buildings and working in the real estate industry. So you could are the people who could regulate industries with laws which could be beneficial for everyone. Your roles and responsibilities will also include documentation and drafting. Okay, lawyers have to do a lot of documentation. Everything that they do, every notice that they have to write, every appeal that they have to send, it includes a lot of documentation and drafting. And then there is our whole judicial system, which comes out of law only. All right. So those who are judges, or those who become judges, they have to appear to for certain exams and interviews, but they have to be lawyers first. They first have to understand the concepts and basics of law first. All right. So there is huge, the law itself as a field is very huge, and not just in terms of its depth of knowledge that is required, but also in terms of the vastness in which the law is being applied, in which law is becoming a huge cross disciplinary job profession. So you have the basic, the ones which have been most popular are civil and criminal, that all of us know, that all of us have studied in our schools also. But there are taxation laws also. So those people who wrote the GST, goods and service tax, which was a huge discussion point few years back. It was written, it was analyzed, it was approved. Every clause, the drafting of every clause and everything was involved a role of a law professional also. Okay, so an understanding of taxation, where it comes. So here a role and a contribution of a commerce graduate or a person who has studied these fields becomes huge, because they understand tax better than anybody else. Corporate law is one place again, because these people have an understanding of business. These people have a commerce graduate or a commerce background person has a knowledge of accounts. Corporate law, where it becomes very easy for them. Real estate, and again, especially with somebody who understands businesses, real estate law is again a part of feature of law which benefits from your commerce knowledge. Besides that, there is also international law, patent law, energy and environment, and healthcare medical law fields are also there, which you can explore. Now, what are the different entrance exams? So national law universities are the biggest universities that we have in India. There are about 23 NLUs in India. NLU Delhi has their own entrance exam, which is the ILET, All India Law Entrance Test. CLAT is accepted by the other 22, as well as West Bengal state admissions, the state law schools that we have, they also consider the common law admission test. After CLAT, the most popular one is the LSAT, Law School Admission Test, and some institutes like Symbiosis and Jamia have their own law entrance test as well. Now coming to the defense services, those of you who are interested in going into defense services, one news for you: if you are a commerce graduate, you can be only eligible for Indian Army officer, because your Navy services and Air Force services at least require physics and mathematics. So physics, mathematics, so most of you might be having, but the physics will not be there. So those options become limited. Now, how do you get into Indian Army Force? So after your 12th, all the male candidates can immediately apply after 12th standard for the NDA exam. After clearing the NDA entrance exam, you have to appear for SSB. Now, SSB is a 5-day test in which all the medical tests, physical tests happen, and interviews happen. So after that, you will go into a 3-year course at NDA, which is the National Defense Academy. And after completing your NDA course, you will be getting your a proper bachelor's degree, either in arts or in science or in computer science, depending on what you studied there. And after that, you will have to complete a post-commission training before you get as a permanent commission as a lieutenant. All right, women can join after completing their graduation in these programs. Now coming to civil services. Now civil services again offers huge opportunities and is completely unbiased towards students in terms of whatever education background they might come from. So the 3 main most popular civil service programs that we have are IAS, Indian Administrative Services, IFS in Foreign Services, and Police Services. But what you might not be knowing is that civil services doesn't restrict themselves to only these 3. There are other categories also. So there is IRS, Revenue Services, there is Postal Services, Railway Services, Audit and Account Service. Also their jobs are there in the government. And those who are not able to get into defense through your army, they can get into defense through the Indian Defense Accounts Services. Then there is Information Services, Tax Services also, and Meteorological Services also. Now, how do you get into civil services? Especially for the IAS programs, we will be talking about IA, which is the most popular one. The processes for there is forest services also. The processes are mostly same. They start with UPSC only, but in trainings and in other few requirements they will vary. All right. So let's talk about IAS. So the general procedure remains the same, mota moti. It is like you start with the preliminary exam for UPSC, which is the Union Public Service Commission. You give a preliminary exam, you get clear, then you appear for the main exam. Now in main exams, you have some compulsory papers, which is your general studies, the essay, then the English and the Indian languages. And you can choose any of the following subjects as your optional subjects. Now here your advantage as a commerce graduate will come, because you can then choose from a commerce and accountancy, right, which has been your subject in your school, and in case you have chosen it at a college level also, you choose commerce and accountancy here as an optional subject. You can also choose economics from social sciences. All right. And if you have pursued law, you can choose public administration and law also as an optional subject. Right. And if you want to give a language as any of the optional subject, you can choose that. So once you have your prelims, then you give your mains exams, then you have your interview, and then there is this training also. It could be a physical training or an administrative training. Now the location and the kind of training that is there will vary by the different kind of services that you are applying for. Now let's discuss about teaching. Teaching is a career, again, open to all. Anybody can become a teacher from any subject background, from any field, any but if you are in commerce and you only like accounts, then you can become a teacher of accounts. So it gives you lots of freedom in terms of the subject that you want to teach and the class you want to teach. So we have 3 levels of education training program. One is for schools, where you can study to become a middle or high school teacher. In this, you have to complete a 4 years B.Ed program after 12th. If you are immediately applying for it after 12th, then it's a 4 years B.Ed program. Or you can also go for an integrated B.Ed program with any of the UG course that you might have taken. So you could have taken BCom or BA History or BA anything, and then you can along with it do a B.Ed course. To become a college or university professor or a lecturer, you have to complete both UG and PG in a subject, and then appear for a national eligibility test, which is the NET exam. If you want to apply at state level, then you have SLET, state level entrance exams, eligibility exams also there. And if you want to work with special children, if you want to become a special educator, then you will complete a B.Ed program in special education. Now, who are these special educators and who need this special education? Remember that movie Tare Zameen Par, where the child was suffering from dyslexia. So those kind of students who have some learning development issues or some neurological issues due to which their learning is different from the other children that are there. So these are special children who need special assistance for their education, and for them there's a special educator program. So these are the careers into which you can make an entry through commerce, or even if you're not, or the neutral careers, which are though subject independent, but you can use your knowledge of commerce in these fields to have a long and satisfactory career in them. Right. So before I move into next, what I will be discussing with you is psychometric assessment. But before that, I will wait here, give you some time to think about the information that I have shared till now. And meanwhile, I'll also share my screen to show you some more career information that is there. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, just think about it, spend some time and write them on the chat box. Okay, writing helps. So do write them down in the chat box immediately the moment you are having the question, because it helps. मतलब याद रहेगा, लास्ट में तो भूल जाओगे, लास्ट में जब पूछूंगी क्वेश्चन पूछो तब क्वेश्चंस याद नहीं आएंगे. So अब अभी चैट बॉक्स में अपने क्वेश्चंस लिखिए and we will address to them towards the end. So I talked about event management. We have an event manager also on this. So जिनको event management में interest है, they can look into how you can get into event management as a career, and what are the opportunities in this career. ठीक है? And those who are interested in becoming a lawyer or a corporate lawyer specifically. Okay, so what are the different ways through which you can specialize in a corporate law field? You can do a BA in LLB or a BCom LLB or even a BBA LLB is a possibility. Okay, and then PG in LLM and your background in BBA etc. will help you become a corporate lawyer, right? And these are the famous corporate lawyers that we have in India. So you can read about them, know about their journey, and take inspiration from there also. And if you want to find college information, so you can find college information from here. So those of you students जिनके पास अभी तक इसका access नहीं है, those students who had registered for this program, they have completed my planning sessions also, career planning sessions also. आपने टीचर कोऑर्डिनेटर से बात करिए, उनके पास लॉगिन आईडीज एंड पासवर्ड्स हैं आपके पोर्टल के लिए. ओके, सो आप माय सारथी ORG में जाएंगे, अपना लॉगिन आईडी और पासवर्ड डालेंगे एंड उसके थ्रू आप इस यहाँ पर आएंगे. Here you will find the college and career information, careers, college, exams, scholarship, all the information is here. कॉलेज इंफॉर्मेशन में आकर आप अपनी कंट्री चॉइसेस के बेसिस पे कॉलेज टाइप प्रेफरेंसेस के ये फिल्टर्स आप यूज कर सकते हैं. These are the college types, country filters, city, state, faculty, specialization, super specialization, what type of course you want, at which level. So all this career information is there on this portal and it is going to be with you for 1 year. So don't lose 1 day of it also. Immediately log in करिए और इस portal को देखिए. Then you have your entrance exam information also. एंट्रेंस एग्जाम में भी फिल्टर्स की ऑप्शन है. सो आप फिल्टर्स यूज करके अपनी एंट्रेंस एग्जाम प्रेफरेंसेस जो है यहाँ पे स्पेसिफाई कर सकते हैं. यू कैन ऑल्सो यूज द सर्च बार हेयर. सर्च बार से भी आप यू कैन फाइंड द एंट्रेंस एग्जाम दैट यू वांट टू सी. यहाँ पे नोटिफिकेशंस भी होती हैं कि वेदर दिस एंट्रेंस एग्जाम हैज बीन अनाउंस्ड एंड ओपन, इट इज अनाउंस्ड और क्लोज्ड एंड नॉट अनाउंस्ड. सो रेड इज फॉर नॉट अनाउंस्ड, जब तक अनाउंस नहीं हुए हैं. ठीक है, and if you go in them you will find complete information about those entrance exam also. Eligibility criteria, exam pattern, available seats that are there, everything you will find on this portal. All right, similarly we have a page for scholarships also. तो जिनको scholarship जाननी है कि उनके कोर्स में कुछ scholarships हैं, are there any competitions for them, are there any fellowship programs for them, they can come to this page. Again use the filters on the left and look for these programs. इनमें भी the entrance exam की तरह ही है. Notification is there, announced and open, announced but closed and not announced. The red, yellow and green buttons are there here for this also, and in the similar level all the information about the scholarships is also provided here. The application procedure क्या है, we even give you the link. आप डायरेक्टली लिंक पे भी जाके डिटेल्स चेक कर सकते हैं. The deadlines and all the other information is shared here. ठीक है, so this is the portal that you will use for all the information. Now let's come to the psychometric part. जिन्होंने psychometric test कर लिया है उनके पास they have their reports. Now we will start with the segment where we'll discuss कि reports को कैसे पढ़ना है. ठीक है, and जिनके पास ये पोर्टल एक्सेस है बट उन्होंने असेसमेंट नहीं किया है, प्लीज कंप्लीट योर असेसमेंट. इट इज जस्ट गोइंग टू टेक 90 मिनट्स बट यू विल फाइंड इट वेरी वेरी यूजफुल. बहुत काम आएगी करियर डिसीजन लेने में. करियर अगर सोच रखा है कि क्या करियर करना है तो प्लान बी बनाने में वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट इट. उसके बारे में बात करेंगे कि प्लान बी क्यों चाहिए. थोड़ा सा हम करियर प्लानिंग वर्कशॉप के टाइम पे बात कर चुके हैं. जिन्होंने अटेंड नहीं किया था, टू देम आई विल एक्सप्लेन अगेन व्हाई यू नीड अ प्लान बी. बट For this you need to do this career assessment. तो आप ये वाला assessment करेंगे, career assessment for private school and college students. You will press here, you will come to this page. It will show you how to start your psychometric assessment. It is also giving you timelines कि interest assessment में 20 minutes लगेंगे, personality में 20 minutes, and aptitude assessment is again going to take 50 minutes. Aptitude assessment सबसे बड़ा क्यों है? Because इसमें आपको 5 aptitude के लिए आपके पास 9 questions आएंगे और हर aptitude में 10 मिनट का timer लगेगा. Okay, तो इसलिए 5 aptitudes, 10 minutes for each, 50 minutes. And interest assessment and personality assessment 20 minutes का छोटा-छोटा section है. So you can start from interest section here. Okay, so once you are relaxed, when you have find yourself 1 hour of time, 90 minutes का time अपना ढूंढ के रखो. जब वो time मिलता है, जब आप completely relaxed feel कर रहे हो, start this assessment, and then you will get a psychometric report. तो साइकोमेट्रिक रिपोर्ट में क्या होगा वो डिस्कस करने से पहले एक बार ये डिस्कस कर लेते हैं कि साइकोमेट्रिक रिपोर्ट पढ़ने से पहले हमें क्या क्या पता होना चाहिए. अभी तक जो मैंने करियर्स की इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर करी है, किसी भी करियर को लेके आपको कोई भी क्वेश्चन है, टाइप इन द चैट बॉक्स एंड ये सेगमेंट खत्म करके ही आई विल स्टार्ट आंसरिंग योर क्वेश्चंस. ऑलराइट एवरीवन, so understanding your psychometric assessment report, what you need to do there. पहले तो ये समझते हैं कि आपकी साइकोमेट्रिक रिपोर्ट किस किस तरह की हो सकती है. तो देयर कुड बी 2 situations जहां आपकी साइकोमेट्रिक रिपोर्ट इज शोइंग दैट द करियर दैट यू वांट टू डू. ग्रेट, कांग्रेचुलेशंस, बट यू नीड टू कीप अ प्लान बी. लाइक आई वाज सेइंग, व्हाई यू नीड टू कीप अ प्लान बी? कि आपने वो करियर के लिए आप ट्राई कर रहे हैं एंड आपने कुछ प्लान बनाया है, मुझे ये करना है, वो करना है. व्हाट हैपेंस अगर आपका प्लान कुछ इधर उधर हो जाता है? व्हाट हैपेंस व्हेन कोई सिचुएशन आ जाती है बिकॉज जिसकी वजह से आप अपना प्लान फॉलो नहीं कर पाते हो? डू यू हैव अ प्लान बी? नो ना. So this is the reason why we are doing this psychometric report, so you can have a plan B. Okay, so use the psychometric report to have a plan B. Situation 2, if your report is not showing what you want to do, तो क्या करना है? रिपोर्ट फॉलो करें कि अपना फॉलो योर हार्ट? सो आपको रिपोर्ट फॉलो योर हार्ट बट यूज दिस रिपोर्ट. हाउ विल यू यूज दिस रिपोर्ट? कि अगर आपको रिपोर्ट बता रहा है कि आप जो करियर चाहते हैं उसमें उसके लिए ये इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए, ये कॉम्पिटेंसीज चाहिए, लाइक आई वाज शोइंग यू ऑन द पोर्टल. अगर वो कॉम्पिटेंसीज आपके पास नहीं है, यू कैन वर्क टुवर्ड्स डेवलपिंग सर्टेन स्किल्स, और you can find alternate career options for yourself which can match you as a person, your abilities, personality areas, and take care of your personal interests also. ठीक है? So we will discuss both these situations. So I will be discussing 2 reports with you, and जिसमें हम दोनों situations को cover करेंगे. But before I start, be mindful of these 3 factors written below. First, this report does not guarantee you will crack the entrance exam. ये रिपोर्ट आपकी करियर प्रेफरेंसेस के बारे में बनाया गया है, आपकी करियर डिसीजन में हेल्प करने के लिए बनाया गया है. इट इज नॉट टेस्टिंग यू फॉर द एबिलिटी फॉर द एंट्रेंस एग्जाम. एंट्रेंस एग्जाम में आप कितना स्कोर करते हो, क्लियर कर पाते हो कि नहीं कर पाते हो, इट विल ऑल डिपेंड ऑन योर डेडिकेशन, ऑन योर प्रैक्टिस, ऑन योर प्रिपरेशन, ऑन योर एकेडमिक परफॉर्मेंस. So उसके साथ कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करना है. बेस्ड ऑन दिस रिपोर्ट, कीप वर्किंग हार्ड टुवर्ड्स योर गोल. Alright. Then the report shows your chances of success in certain career clusters. The course will still need a certain academic commitment. So be prepared to learn well no matter what career you want to pursue. Okay, it's repeating the same point that I made just now. And finally, the point that you need to consider, आपकी रिपोर्ट में आपके एनालिसिस के बाद इंटरेस्ट, एप्टीट्यूड एंड पर्सनालिटी असेसमेंट के बाद एक करियर फिटमेंट एनालिसिस आता है. तो उसमें जिन करियर्स के साथ में 50 से अबव स्कोर होगा, वी विल ओनली कंसिडर दोज करियर्स व्हिच मैप क्लोजली विद यू. ठीक है, जिनका 50 से नीचे स्कोर है, दोज नॉट बी वेरी वेल अलाइंड विद यू. So we will not consider those careers. We will only consider those careers for you, career options for you, which have scores of 50 and above. All right. So let's start. But Before we move into specific reports, I want you to understand, develop an understanding of what these three parameters are that we have been talking about: aptitude, interest, and personality. Okay, so aptitude talks about your natural abilities. So somebody who is good at numerical aptitude can also perform well in jobs like IT, statistician, mathematician, finance, data analyst. Now, what I mean here is that not कि अगर आपका numerical aptitude अच्छा है तो आपको यही careers follow करने चाहिए. No, what I mean here is that you should, these are just to give you an idea that what numerical aptitude means. Okay, how does numerical aptitude influences careers? All right. So a person with numerical aptitude will be good at jobs which require number work, like the jobs of a statistician, mathematician, or a data analyst. A person who is good at verbal aptitude. Now, verbal aptitude doesn't only talk about your speaking abilities, it also talks about your writing abilities, reading abilities, and listening abilities. How good you are with the language. How good is your understanding of your language? How good is your communication skills? So verbal aptitude in सब के बारे में बात करता है. Okay, so if you have a good grasp of language, if you have a good understanding of communication, both listening and speaking, then you will perform well. Then careers like anchor, journalism, writer, author, politician, these might become easier for you. You will be able to perform them well in them. All right. Somebody with mechanical aptitude. By mechanical aptitude, we mean somebody who is good in understanding the operation part of things, how things work, and curiosity, and also the natural aptitude to understand functioning of different things and operation of different things. So with these kind of people, engineer, navy, pilot, fire specialist, which require working with some machines or working with certain things for which processes are important, it will come a little naturally for these people. Somebody who has a good reasoning aptitude will become can become a good lawyer, marketing, a salesperson, or a scientist or a finance professional, because he has good logic and reasoning. He or she will be able to apply his reasoning aptitude to make faster conclusions and arguments in a law case. They will be able to make better sales pitch because of their thinking on the toes. So this kind of defines their abilities in these different job professions. Spatial aptitude is the aptitude where the person is able to visualize. They're able to create things, draw things, or they have an ability to visualize a problem in 3D space. So that's they make for good designers or architectures or an animation specialist. For pilot, why spatial aptitude is might be important is also because a pilot might require a direction sense. So there also spatial aptitude is required. Somebody who is good with directions, and when they're floating in the sky, they're able to make sense about the direction they have to move in. So pilots require that kind of intuitional sense, and somebody who's good with spatial aptitude can help in becoming a good pilot. Next is personality. So in personality, we are going to talk about a person who you are as a person. So here we have 5 factors: experimental, interpersonal, emotional, attitudinal, and conscientiousness. Why these factors are important? These are important from the perspective of the careers you want to choose, whether you will be happy on those careers or not, and also in terms of how well adjusted you could be in the job roles that come with those careers. Okay, so somebody with an experimental orientation, by which we mean somebody who is very practical, is very fact oriented, or a very process oriented कि इस तरीके से ही काम होना चाहिए, or you are an imaginative person, an experimental person. But that we mean a person who is open to new experiences, who is open to learning new things every day. Right. So a practical or a realistic person will prefer a more organized job like a finance, a sales, a marketing, or an actuary, while an imaginative or an experimental personality would prefer a job of an artist, filmmaker, or a scientist. Right. Then we have a interpersonal orientation, a person who is more introvert. Now again, one more thing that we must be knowing about personalities is that nobody is completely, when we're talking about like interpersonal or any of these orientations, experimental, emotional, or attitudinal. So in interpersonal, we have introvert versus extrovert. Now, nobody can be a completely extrovert, or a person cannot be, a completely introvert. These are two sides of a coin, right? But there's a lot of gray shade areas also. A person can be, a little introvert and a little extrovert also. So personalities, what we happen is that you can be mix of both, or a combination of something less, something more. But you have to identify, and we help you identify through this assessment also, that where do you, hang more, where do you bend more, right? And if you are this kind of a personality, then what kind of, careers might go well with your personality, or roles which you will be more comfortable doing for your entire life, for 40 years of your life. That is approximately time that you spend in a career. All right. So somebody in interpersonal orientation, somebody who is an introvert would be more comfortable in a job of a writer or a researcher, a painter or an accountant who has to, work alone with his thoughts. An extrovert person will require a job in which he is interacting with people. So he or she would recommend a job of a teacher, a marketing, sales, or public relations, or a politician. Next, we move to an emotional orientation. Here we have strong, resilient, and calm. So we would prefer, most of the professions would require a resilient and calm person, especially in jobs which are high stress jobs like a doctor, firefighter, armed forces, police, and therapist. We would prefer people to have, more resilience and calmness in their nature while they are interacting or, working in their jobs. All right. It doesn't mean that they don't get affected. They are humans, they will get affected, but being resilient, they have more better control of their emotions. They're able to react better in stressful situations. So in most of the jobs, and especially in these high stress jobs, it would be preferable if you are a calm and resilient person. It will be better. You will perform better in these kind of jobs. Then you have your attitudinal orientation, which is about tough and competitive versus your generous and cooperative. So attitudinal orientation talks about how well do you work with people. Are you a person who would, just consider, your everyday situation, you are participating in a race. So how do you feel about a race? So do you feel, very competitive with your friends, that, I should win the race and I should be the only one who wins this race and all that? Or do you feel, more generous and cooperative, that okay, let's run together, and if I win, it will be good. If he wins, then also it is good. You of course have a competitive spirit. Everybody wants to come first, but you don't have that kind of. You are ready to cooperate with people. You are ready to be generous with people. So those will define what kind of jobs you will be comfortable with. So if you're very competitive, then sales, marketing, finance, and these business jobs in which there is always a rat race going, any job with a target, those kind of things, those will be really, really good, because these are competitive environments, and you are okay with competitive environments. We don't want you to be competitive in nature, that you are fighting with everyone else. But these competitive fields, what they do is that they provide you to be an opportunity that in a competitive environment you can work comfortably. While a person who is generous, who is cooperative, who is good to people, who is likes to do jobs in which you are not competing against anyone, but you want to help other people, those will find this competitive environment uncomfortable. So for them, what will be much more important for them, their jobs like social work or healthcare professional or a teacher or a counselor or a therapist, these jobs will be a much better work environment for them. And finally, we have conscientiousness orientation, which talks about how focused and organized this person is. And almost all careers require certain level of organization and focus and attention to your work. And that is why all jobs can be suitable for these kind of people. Now coming to the interest areas. Now we have 6 interesting areas: realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. These 6 interest areas define the kind of work you like to do. Now we are not talking about your abilities. Now we are not talking about your personality, that who you are. Now we are talking about what you like and what you would like doing for the rest of your life. So first understand these interest area. The realistic means people who like to do things with their hands. They like certain physical activity. They would like, building things, making things. All right. So there will be the suitable careers for these people would be some engineer, architect, pilot, military officer. So these kind of things which involve certain activities, making something, building something, doing something. These are the doers. So we call realistic people as doers. So these are the jobs that they will prefer. They would like doing it. Investigative are those people who are very curious, who are very analytical. They like to, ponder on small problems and solve them. They're investigative in nature. So these people would be good at they would like doing jobs such as economist, lawyer, engineer, research analyst, psychologist. So we solving problems. Then we have your artistic people. Artistic people we call creators. These are the people who like to create things, who like to do something, creative, develop something, and doing something new. So some a new experience they are always looking for. So these would be artists, singers, musicians, interior designers, or writers who are every day writing a new article, researching a new subject. So artistic would be these kind of people who have a lot of creative orientation in them. And that is why we call them creators. Then there are social interests. Social interests are those interest areas where people like to work with other people and for other people. In a social context, they will be helping others. So we call them helpers. So they are counselors, social workers, teacher educators, your nurse, and your therapists. Enterprising people, enterprising interest areas are where people like to have leadership. They like to influence other people. They like to lead other people, lead by example, or influence them. They are also very persuasive. People who have enterprising interest areas also like the jobs where a lot of persuasion is there. So they would be happy, doing jobs such as a manager, salesperson, market analyst, entrepreneur, or a recruiter. And finally, we have the conventional interest areas. These are people who like very organized jobs, very, disciplined jobs in which everything is a process. They know what is going to happen next. Okay, so these are people in the bankers, the finance, the data analysts, the chartered accountants. These are the job roles which they will be happy with. Someone who has very conventional interest areas. So now that we understand these three parameters and their role in how they influence our career choices, let's move on to our psychometric reports. Okay. So let me open two psychometric reports that I have for you today. So one psychometric report will be based on situation 1, where you are getting what you want to do. Okay. And the second assessment psychometric report that I will be having here will be about a student who is interested in commerce but is not finding any matching career recommendations. So here is my share screen and here is the report. Okay, I hope all of you can see my screen. Before I start, if there are any questions, please type them in the chat box and we will be addressing them towards the end. So it's just, I'll take just 10 more minutes. After that, we will start discussing your questions. Okay, so now let's begin the reports. Now we understand how interest, aptitude, and personality influence our career choices. Now let's go through our report and understand what your report reads. So what does this report have? This report is based on the information that you have given us in the assessment. So how honestly you have given that test will influence the results you are getting out of that test. All right. How is this report aimed to benefit you? So it helps you understand your abilities, personal characteristics, and your preferences areas. It is also going to identify career options that are consistent with your personal profile as identified through the psychometric assessment. We also aim to help you with career exploration and planning based on these informed, accurate results. So we are giving you career recommendations, and then we are supporting you with our career portal through which you can, do career exploration, using which you can chart your own action plans and, deep dive into each of these careers if you want. How this report is organized, we have 3 sections. In section 1, we will be doing a psychometric analysis of your aptitude, personality, and interest. Then we will move into career fitment analysis, and finally the summary and recommendations. So these are the 21 clusters that which come up in your career fitment analysis according to your personal profile, and these 21 same career clusters are mirrored in the career portal. So you will find the same 21 career clusters in the career portal too. So it makes your search easy as to what all careers that have been recommended for me comes under this cluster, right? Starting with section 1, the psychometric analysis. So first we have the numerical aptitude. I hope all of you now understand what we mean by numerical aptitude, verbal aptitude, mechanical aptitude, spatial, and the reasoning aptitude. Okay, you can get a better understanding by going through these small explanations that have been given on the report also. Now, what is the student's aptitude profile? So this student, if you will see, has anything above 5 or 6 is a high potential area for the student. So he has very good reasoning capabilities. Okay, and he has average, your medium potential area, numerical, mechanical is medium, and spatial is his low potential areas. So what does this mean? That he is good in logic and reasoning. All right. He's very good with rational and logical concepts, means solving problem would be good for him. So it makes him suitable for any career that he wants to do. Now he has medium potential areas in numerical aptitude, verbal aptitude, and mechanical aptitude. So he's good with numbers. He is good in verbal and mechanical aptitude also. And spatial aptitude means he's not good at visualizing stuff. He's not good at creating stuff. So that this is a low potential area. Then we move on to personality. In personality, we have these 5 orientations, and on these 5 parameters, we don't have any score. Okay, what we do with this, we show the, like we say, which is an orientation. So you can bend down towards anything, or you can be somewhere a combination of 2. So the interpersonal orientation, this person is more of an extrovert. He's more comfortable with people. He is a person who would not like to work in a secluded environment, but in an environment where there are people also involved around him. He has a very easy go. He is balanced in terms of his conscientiousness, which means he's neither very organized and nor completely, reckless or impulsive in his decisions or in his actions. So he's a balanced personality in terms of a conscientiousness. Okay. And we can understand much more by understanding this personal profile descriptions that have been given here. Now, this person, he, in terms of attitude, is also a very balanced personality. He is neither very generous nor very competitive, which means he will be moderately trusting of people, and he will be he will strike a balance between being completely honest or somewhat completely calculating. He's capable of maintaining that balance between his attitude. Next is the emotional orientation, which means he is neither a very completely calm personality nor very anxious personality. He's again a very emotionally balanced person. Okay, we will not say that he is not calm. We will say he's emotionally balanced person. And finally, the learning orientation. So this person is practical and realistic, which means that he is not very experimental, which means he is not very open to new experiences. He just likes to work with the facts that are given to him. He's very practical in his approach. So whatever has been given to him, whatever knowledge he has, he will be working based on those facts only. He will not be a person who will be depending much on intuition. All right. So this is a personality characteristics. Now coming to his interest areas. So we use a hexagon here to understand his interest. So anything in the outer hexagon exhibits his top interest areas, and anything within the small hexagon represents his low interest areas. So we have a person in who is 10 on 10 on conventional, 10 on 10 on enterprising, and 9 out of 10 on social interest areas. And very low, what will we say? On realistic, he's 2. On artistic, he is 0. So his aptitude was also low on spatial. His interest areas are also low in very low, means hardly there is no interest areas in the artistic fields for him. So this person is a persuader because he's high on enterprising. He's an organizer, high on conventional, and a helper. Okay, enterprising, conventional, and social means he's a persuader, organizer, and helper. So what kind of career recommendations? So if you want to understand more about these interest areas, you can go through this reading. And what kind of career recommendation do we have for this person now? Sales and marketing, 72% association fitment. Business management, 71% fitment. Finance and banking, legal services. These are the top 4 recommendations for him. Now 48, 48, 48. So these are all below 50. We are not going to consider these professions or these career options for him. We're only going to look at these 4. And these 4 are highly commerce related, your career recommendations. So because this person is good on numerical aptitude, but it was medium potential. That is why finance and banking kind of professions didn't come up, because they require a very good numerical aptitude, right? But this person is very high on, social personality wise also, and interest areas also, and very high on process oriented job and persuading capabilities, enterprising interest areas. So that is why sales and marketing and business management are coming as the high recommendations here for this person. Now, if you will go into your further fitment analysis, you will find the association each of these careers are having with his aptitude, personality, and interest. So, in terms of aptitude, highest association we are having is with legal services, because he showed high aptitude in numerical and verbal ability also. Right? Remember. So that is why there is higher association with the legal services. But as you go down, based on his personality, we can see higher association with sales and marketing, 30% association, because he is a person who was a kind of extrovert also and kind of organized also. In terms of interest, again, we find a very high association with business management here, because he is high on your persuading capability interest areas. He likes to be in an environment in which he can persuade people, and he likes the job very processed. Now sales and marketing, what happens is it is a little less organized, conventional. There are challenges every day. So I think that is where a little marks have dropped in sales and marketing. And in terms of interest area, more higher recommendation is coming for business management. But you can prioritize in the summary recommendation, you can prioritize which are the 2 aptitudes play more important, and accordingly you can see the closer association each of these careers are having with your personality aptitude, interest versus personality, and interest versus aptitude. All right. Any questions? If any questions until now, if somebody is facing similar problem and had a similar report but still have any questions, you can please type them down in the chat box and we will answer them towards the end. Just another 5 minutes and I will start answering your questions. One last report I'll be taking, and this report is for a person who did not have the choice of career as a commerce. So this person, his aptitude level were, this person was high on verbal aptitude, numerical was on medium potential areas, spatial and numerical, and then mechanical and reasoning were also mid potential areas. So this person had no low potential area but very high verbal aptitude, high potential area, and rest all are in medium potential areas. No low potential area has been identified for this person. In terms of personality, this person is agreeable. Okay, He's again not very competitive nor very generous. So he has a moderately trusting of people. In conscientiousness, again, he's a balance of being reckless and being organized. So he's a balanced personality in terms of attitudinal. In terms of emotional orientation, also he is a very balanced, emotionally balanced person. Interpersonal orientation, again, very balanced, a mix of both introvert and extrovert. And in terms of learning orientation, though, this person is very practical and realistic. Again, the previous person was also like this. This person is also very practical and realistic, working with the facts kind of a person. In interest area, this person exhibits interest in social and artistic fields and conventional, while on realistic, investigative, and enterprising abilities, he is below average interest area. So it lies in the smaller hexagon. So he has very low interest areas in this field. He has a slightly higher interest areas in the conventional, artistic, and social, which are all similar scoring. 6 score he has scored there. So he's a kind of a creator, helper, and an organizer, a balance of these 3 interest areas he has. So what career recommendations will this person now find himself with? This person has been recommended art and design, education, teaching, humanities, performing arts, animation, fitness, well-being, mass communication, sales, marketing, journalism. Everything is above 50, so he can choose any of these careers. But now any of these is not a commerce. This could be your story that you are interested in taking commerce because maybe you like accounts, or maybe you like maths, or because you want to study, have business, do business after completing your school and college. So what do you do if you have these kind of analysis in front of you, right? So there are 2 ways how you can proceed with it. If you have a goal, okay, if you know that you want to do business, now where are you lacking? Okay, so for business, we know that a person should be having interest areas in the conventional and enterprising stages. Okay, so you are not very enterprising. If you want to do something, then you're also not very realistic. You don't like to do things or make things, right? So you only have certain conventional interest areas, and that could be also largely influenced because of your personality. You are a very organized person. So look in the gaps in your personality and aptitude. Now, interest is something that cannot be developed. Okay, so we can't do anything about our interest areas. But if you want to do business, if you have interest in those fields, then work on your personality, and aptitude is something that you can work on. Now, this person has numerical aptitude, high on verbal aptitude, very high on verbal aptitude, and that is why these areas have come up, and followed by a good spatial aptitude. So this is one of the reasons that the top 2 aptitudes are in the fields of the creative side, right? That is why one of the reasons, and also his interest area. So these art recommendations have come up. So then this person needs to work on his numerical aptitude, the reasoning aptitude, which are very important in the fields of commerce, whether you go into law, whether you go into business management, whether you get into finance or banking. These are sectors which require a good numerical and reasoning aptitude. So this is something that the student should then work upon. Okay, this is one option. Second option is that you can look into interdisciplinary career options. So now, if you have been recommended education and teaching because of your high verbal aptitude, but if you are interested in commerce fields, in the commerce subjects, then you can become a teacher or a professor in the field of commerce. You can become a management professor, you can become a school level teacher in these subjects, accounts and maths. So this is one way. Another way is that so this is just one of the example, and in this way you can look at other fields in which you can apply your interest areas. They can take care of your interest areas, and also you can look at banking industry, where you can maybe apply your humanities uh, skills, the verbal skills and these skills in any commerce industry that are there. One of them is education and teaching, like I've told you, and you can explore more such career opportunities in the finance world and in the corporate world where your verbal skills can be applied. All right. So this is sales and marketing. Like sales and marketing is one way in which you can apply your verbal skills and still get into your commerce related careers. All right, and this we have already discussed. You can do a further analysis for yourselves if you want to. So these are the two reports and two situations that I wanted to discuss with you. If you have any questions now, you can type them down, and we can then close this presentation and answer your questions. Now, before I end, I want to move on to our so let's start our Q&A round now. So any questions until now about the careers in commerce and about any other careers or any report that you have, you can type them down. If you don't have any questions, that is also fine, because we understand that this is too much information that we are sharing in these 2 hours. But you can always reach out to us. Those of you who have access to the dashboard, the career portal that you have been given, there in the bottom you have an option of chat with counselor. Okay, so you can directly reach out to me through that portal also. So today we will be closing our careers in commerce workshop. Careers in science has been discussed 2 days back on 22nd January. You can find the YouTube link in this under this account. And on 27th January, just after your Republic Day on 26th January, we will be discussing careers in arts and humanities. Okay, so till then, find out what you like the best. So this is a quote by Catherine Whitehorn, who was a British journalist. So find out what you like doing best and get someone to pay for it until then. And hope you find success and new heights of achievement in the world of business and numbers that you plan to enter. And now we'll wait for a while if there are any questions coming up. Okay, so we'll be here for another 2 to 4 minutes to check out and wait for you to organize your thoughts and put across any questions that are there. So students who are who have joined this program, would you like to tell me what all schools are there, so I can check which of my schools have joined today and have seen this workshop, benefited from this workshop? Okay, so we are having students from Binnaguri 2, number 2, Kendriya Vidyalaya, Mohammad Amanat. Welcome, Mohammad. Thank you for being with us till the end. Who else is there? Mohammad, any of your friends are there? If you have any questions, any doubt, even a small doubt you have, if you want to ask anything, do write it down. Okay, so while we are not having any questions as of now, we'll be wrapping up this session for today. Hope to see you again soon and in our next session on 27 January. Do inform your friends, those who are interested in arts and humanities, to do join us for the next session. Till then, all the best and bye-bye.
Thanks, Mansi.
Yeah. Okay, Thomas. Bye. See you then. So the live session has closed down. It's still live now?
Just closing it in about 10.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.